Okay, so in the very first, we are having your web application, right? So a web application is an application program that is usually stored in our remote server, right? And we as the users, we can access it through the help of your softwares, which we call it a web browser over there, right? Like we are having a Firefox, your Chrome, your Edge over there. So when we are talking about the web application, what is the difference between your web application and the web browser and the website? Okay, so when we are talking about a web application, right? A web application is what? It is a program, right, that will be running on our server and it can be accessed by the user with the help of the web browser, right? So we are using our web application to provide us the services, information to the users over the internet over there. Like we are having our e-commerce sites like your Flipkart, your Amazon we are having, right? We are having our Twitter, the Starbucks also, right? We are having our social media platforms, which will be allowing the users to connect with their friends, with their family over there to share their photos, videos, right? And to follow the news and the updates, right? We are having our productivity tools also, like we are using the tools to create our documents, right? To create the spreadsheets over there, the presentation, and some other types of contents. We are having our Gmail, right, that will be allowing the users to access their mail accounts from any web browser, right? So that is what your web application over here, right? After this, we are having our web browser, right? So a web browser is what? It is a software application we are having, right? A software application which is being used to access, right? And to view the websites and the web application and the internet over there, right? Like we are having our Google Chrome, the Firefox, Safari, right? So over there, what we are doing is in our laptop, simply we are opening our web browser. Let's say we will be opening our Google Chrome, right? And inside that Google Chrome, we will be putting the address of that particular website. Like let's say I have to open infosectrain.com, right? So it will be opening this page for me, right? It is going to open this website for me over there, right? So that is what we are having a web browser, right? So in a simple way, you can consider that your web browser, it will be acting as a gateway to view our websites over there, right? Then after this, we are having your websites over here, right? So in a simple words, a website is like a book, right? Your website is what? It is like a book which will be containing the different information and the different pages over there, right? So it will be the collection of our web pages, right, which will be containing the information, right? They will be giving us the articles, the blogs over there, like we will be getting the documents inside that, we will be containing the multimedia contents over there, right? We can access through the help of your internet over there, right? So we can consider this website over here as a book, right? And the homepage we are getting in our website, you can consider it as the cover of our book, right? And inside this, each web page, right, each web page, they will be having the different sections, like the same thing we will be having inside of a book. Each page, they will be containing different informations over there, right? So we are using our websites like to read the articles, to see the blogs over there, right? To share our thoughts over there, right? To read someone's thoughts over there. So that is what we are having your websites, right? So primarily we are using the websites for gaining the information, right? So inside the website, we won't be having that much of interaction by clicking the links to navigate the different things over there. No, we are not having that much of interactions inside it, right? So for performing those specific tasks, these you can say functionalities over here, we are having our web application, right? Inside that, we will be having the dynamic contents inside it, right? Like let's say if we will be opening our Flipkart, right? So over there, what we will be doing is we will be browsing for the product first, then we will be adding them inside our cart, right? And then after that, we will be making the payment over there, right? To make the purchase over there, right? So this whole process, right? It is our dynamic action, right? It is our dynamic action, and this is all happening inside our web application. Right? So this is the difference between our web application, our web pages, and the web browser. After this, we are having our web application security. Right? So a web application security is what in which we are going to protect our websites, our web applications, our web services from the attackers, from the threats over there, right? Who will be trying to exploit the vulnerabilities we are having in our applications inside their codes, right? So your web application security, it is very important topic inside of our cyber security because our web application, they are continuously increasing over there, right? And they are being used to store and to process our sensitive data, right? So the goal of our web application security is to ensure only the authorized peoples they will be able to access their sensitive data, confidentiality, right? It is providing us the confidentiality over there, right? Along with that, it will be also preventing the unauthorized modification to our data or to our application, right? And it will be also ensuring that our web application they are accessible to the authorized users without any sort of interruption, right? So inside this, what we will be doing is inside the web application security, we will be following some practices like we will be performing the input validation, right? We will be performing this input validation over there, right? So over there, what we will be doing is we will be validating our users input, right? So that they won't be able to give any malicious code over there inside of our web application, right? Then we will can also implement the access control over there, right? So maintaining a strict access control, right? So over there, it is going to restrict our access to the sensitive data and some other functionalities we are having inside the web applications, right? We will be regularly patching, right? We will be regularly updating our applications, right? We will be applying the security patches over there to fix the vulnerabilities, the bugs we are having, right? We will be following the secure coding practices, right? To avoid some common vulnerabilities from our web application, right? Along with that, we will be regularly scanning our application for your vulnerabilities. For that, we can conduct like your penetration testing, right? To identify, to remediate the weakness we are having over there. Yes, I. What we have to do, we have to use your HTTPS, your secure one, right? We are not going to use the HTTP, right? So when we are talking about this HTTP or your HTTPS, right? So what do you say, guys, if you will be opening a bank website for performing some financial transaction and you're finding that it is using your HTTP? What do you say? Are you going to perform the financial transaction inside that particular website? No, because it is not secure over there, right? If the attackers they will be coming, right? They can intercept your request, right? Over there, they will be able to find your login credentials, your cookies over there, because our HTTP it will be taking our credential in the plain text. That is why we are having this secure, which is running on the port number 443, right? Along with that, we can also implement the WAF, the web application firewall over there, to block the malicious traffic, to protect against the common attacks we are having, right? We will be having this encryption, right, to encrypt our sensitive data, which is in the rest, right, which is in the transit over there, right, which will be protecting it from the unauthorized access or your disclosure, right? Along with that, we have to also provide the awareness training to our friends, colleagues over there, to help them how to identify and avoid these risks which we are having inside the web applications over there, right? So when we are talking about the web application security, it is a ongoing process, right? Which will be requiring the continuous monitoring, assessment, and the improvement, because we are having the new threats, the new vulnerabilities, they are emerging over there, right? So the organizations they need to adapt their security practices to stay one step ahead or some more step ahead of a attacker over there, right? So by implementing these security measures, the organizations, the individuals, they can protect their valuable data, right? They can maintain the user trust, right? And they can also avoid the costly data breaches, because in an average we are hearing that a particular cyber attack it will be costing some millions of rupees over there, right? So what we have to do, we have to avoid these sort of your data breaches over there, right? So whenever we are visiting any online store to purchase something from there, now let's say we want to purchase a book, right? Let's say we want to purchase a new book over there, right? So for that, what we will be doing is we will be looking for that particular store's website, right? We will be browsing for it, right? So for that, what we will be doing is we will be opening our web browser, right? And inside that, we will be writing the URL, right? So over there, we will be writing our URL like your https www.websitename.com over here, right? So over here, what we are having is we are having this HTTPS protocol, right? We are having this domain name. Along with that, we will be also having the port number like your 443, right? So once we are writing all these information inside the browser, right? Our browser, it will be sending this HTTPS request to our web server over there, right? It will be sending this request to our web server, right? With this specified URL over here. Then our web server, it will be receiving this request, right? And it will be identifying that particular requested web page or the resource which we are looking over here, right? After that, our web server, it is going to retrieve the content which we are looking over there, right? It is going to retrieve this content, right, from its file system over there, right? Then after this web server, it will be forwarding, right? It is going to forward this request to our application server we are having, right? It will be forwarding this request to our application server. Now our application server, it will be sending our generated content back to our web server later on, right? So for that, what it will be doing is it will be processing this request, it will be performing some logics inside this, it will be also interacting in the background with the database, right? And then it will be generating that content, and once it has generated that content, it will be sending it back to this web server over here. Now after this web server, it is going to reply to our web browser, right? It will be replying back to our web browser over here, right? Then our web browser, it is going to receive that particular content which we were looking over there, right? And then it will be showing us in our web page. So that is how our web application, it will be working. Then after this, we are having our network security and the application security. Okay, so when we are talking about the network security, in this we are going to protect our network infrastructure, like we are having our devices, your routers, your switches, your firewalls over there, right? So that will be our network security, right? In this we will be preventing the unauthorized access to our network, right? So for that we can use like your firewalls, we can use your IDS systems, the intrusion detection system, we can use the intrusion prevention systems over here, your IPS, we can add the access control list over there, right? So that is what we are having your network security. Then we are having your application security. So in the application security, we are going to protect our softwares that are running on a network, like we are having our web applications, right? We are having your mobile applications, right? We are having our enterprise applications and many more, right? So this application security, it will be preventing the vulnerabilities in our applications, right? Which can be exploited by the attackers, right? For that, we can have the secure coding practices, we can implement the endpoint validations, we can perform the vulnerability scanning, the penetration testing over there, right? So our network security, it is going to safeguard the path through which our data it will be traveling. But your application security, it is going to protect the program that are processing, that are storing our data, right? So both are very important for a cyber security over there, right? So over here we are talking about this mobile application. Okay, so your mobile applications, right, as you are saying, they are built for a particular or a specific mobile device over there, right, which we can download from the application stores we are having, right? So let's say we have to download any game, right? We have to download any game like your Battleground, right? So for that, what we will be doing is we will be simply going inside our Play Store, right? Over there, we will be writing this Battleground and it will be downloaded over there, right? So the mobile application, they are being accessed by our mobile over there, right? They will be providing us a superior experience, right? Depending on upon whatever operating system we are having, depending upon the configuration we are having of our mobile device, right? And they are being distributed, they are being supported through the help of your application stores we are having, right? So that is what we are having your mobile applications. Okay, so over here we are having our types of injection attack, right? So in the injection attack, the attacker he is going to inject some malicious codes, right, into our application. He will be trying to trick our application by executing some unintended commands over there, right? So for that, we are having some types of injection attacks, like we are having your SQL injection, we are having your command injection, we are having your LDAP injections, and many more, right? So in the very first, we are having your SQL injection, right? So in this, the attacker here will be inserting the malicious SQL code inside our input fields. We are having to manipulate a particular database over there, right, for extracting the information. So over here, let's say we are having a user and we are having a web server, right? Inside this web server, we will be having the web application front, right? We will be having our database over there. Now let's say this user, right, he wants to access his Facebook account, right? He wants to access his Facebook account over there. So what he will be doing is he will be putting the www.facebook.com inside his browser, right? Then over there he will be getting this web application front, right? Inside this he will be giving us credentials, right? Inside this web application front, inside this Facebook page, he will be giving his credentials over there. After that, this particular credential, they will be transferred to this database. Now this database, what it will be doing is it will be verifying whatever credential this particular user has given, right? It is going to verify these credentials over here. So if this database, it will be finding the credentials, it is going to reply back, right? The database over here, it is going to reply back to this web application, right? And after this web application, it will be replying back to this user over here, right? Then this user, he will be able to access his Facebook account if the credentials, they are correct, they are legitimate one, right? If not, then still our database, it will be giving a response, right? It will be replying back, and inside this reply, it will be writing like error message, like the incorrect username and the password, right? So that is how a normal user, it will be interacting with our web servers over there. But over here, what the attackers, they are doing is they are going to directly interact with our database, and from the database they are going to extract the information, right? So they are going to bypass this authentication over here, right? And for that they are using this SQL injection, right? So over here our SQL, it stands for your sequential query language or your structured query language, right? So your SQL, it is the language which is being used by our database administrator to extract the data from the database. So it is not like that, like you will be writing anything, right? Any string over there and you will be able to extract the data. No. For that, we are having lots of scripts, right? And using those scripts, the attacker, they can extract the data from the database over there, right? So over here I will be using my Kali, right? And by the help of this Kali, right, we will be having a tool with the name SQL map, right? We will be using that tool to extract the information from the database. All right, so over here we are having our site, right, with the name this test php.vulnerabilities. right? So inside this, what we are going to do is we are going to perform the SQL injection by the help of our tool, right? With the name your SQL map, right? Our automated tool we will be using over here, right? So if I will be clicking on the sign up, right, it is going to ask for the username and the password, right? Although we can also find this username and the password over here, but let me show you how we can grab this information from the database, right? Over here it is saying that the username is your test and the test. So we will be opening our terminal, sudo su kali. Over here, let's say we are having a website, right? Or we are having some e-commerce sites over here, right? So what we will be doing is we will be opening it, right? And inside this, let's say we want to purchase a book, right? We want to purchase a book over there, right? So each book they will be having a unique ID number, right? Which will be identifying it, right? Within this particular website over there, within this particular website's database, right? So whenever we are visiting for a we are visiting any website for this book over here, right? So in the URL we will be seeing like this ID equals to 4, right? So this ID equals to 4, right? It is indicating that we are looking for this book over there, right? So that is what we are having your developers code, right? So these developers code over here, they are like the unique address which will be identifying a specific resource within our web applications over there, right? And they will be also helping our web application to retrieve the data, to update the data, to manage the data which are associated with these resources we are having, right? So over here what we will be doing is we will be looking the developers code inside this particular website we are having, right? If I will be clicking in the home, then we are not getting anything. If I will be clicking in the categories, we are not getting anything. But when I will be clicking in this poster, can you see we are having this cat equals to 1, right? So this is what we are having your developers code over here. Now, if we are going to break this developer code, right? So let's see what sort of response we will be getting. Can you see it is giving us error, and that error, it is saying that you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your MySQL server, right? For the right syntax to use near this, right? So over here, I have just given a single inverted comma, right? But it is showing me 3 inverted commas over here, right? So for the human eye, it will be looking like this, but for the compiler, it will be looking something like this. Cat equals to double inverted comma 1, and the double inverted comma and the inverted comma which we have given over there, right? So what we have done, we have just unbalanced this query over here, right? And when we are unbalancing this query, it is giving us a error over here, right? So over here, we are getting the information about what sort of database it is using over there, right? So if I will be going inside your different places, right? Inside that, we will be getting our developers code. Like if I will be clicking on this, right? It is showing us artist equals to 1, right? I will be, you can say, giving the single inverted comma, and it will be giving us the error over there, right? Now, since we are getting the error, right? Since we are getting the error, what we have done is we have just found the developer's code and then we are getting the error over here, right? It is also throwing some information from inside it, right? So what we will be doing is we are going to copy this URL, right? We are going to copy this URL and inside our Kali, we will be writing your SQL map hyphen u for the URL. We will be pasting the URL over here, right? After this, over here, we want to see the information about your database, right? What I will be doing is I will be writing your hyphen dbs over here. So let's see if it will be giving us the information about the database or not. So can you see over here when we are performing this command, your SQL map, and then we are giving this URL over here and we are trying to write the hyphen dbs for listing out the database inside it. It is giving us the information from here, right? It is telling us like what are the available database inside we are having, right? And then it is also giving us the information about the database version we are having, right? And over here it has also, right, it has also used various payloads over here, right, to gather the information for us, right? And then it is also giving us the information, right, like we are having the vulnerability and our parameter, right, your cat over here, or you can say the URL, and the URL which we will be writing over here, like the artist over here, right? It is having the vulnerability inside it, right? So over here, since we are getting the information about the available database, right? So what we will be doing is we will be now looking like what sort of information these database they are having inside them, right? So inside the database, what we are having your tables, right? Inside the database, we are having our tables. So since we are getting the information about the database, so I will be writing your capital D, right? And let's say we want to gather the information about this accurate, like what sort of information we are having inside this particular database over here, right? And then I will be writing your tables. Hit enter. And now you can see inside this database name your accurate over here, right? It is having your 8 tables, right? It is giving us the information that it is having your 8 tables over there, right? So now we are having the good idea, since we are able to extract the information from it, we are having the good idea that this particular website, it is your vulnerable over here. Now after this, let's see what we are having inside these tables, right? So over here, since we are getting the information about the tables, so I will be writing your capital T, right? I will be writing your capital T over here. Then let's say we want to gather the information about the users. Then I will be writing your columns inside this particular table, inside this particular user table. What are the columns we are having inside it? And you can see we are having inside that your name, right? We are having your password, right? Your username, your password. We are having your email address, the address we are having. Now let's try to get the username and the password from it. Now since we are having the information about the columns, right? So from here we will be specifying a particular column, right? Over here we are having a 8 columns, so we will be specifying particular columns over here, like we want to get the information about the username, we want to gather the information about the password, then hyphen dump, right, which is going to dump all these information for us. And you can see we are able to get the information about the username and the password which we have previously discovered. don't save, and you can see we are getting the access of it, right? So that is how the attackers, they are using this SQL injection to extract the information from a particular database over there. For that, they will be executing your malicious SQL queries over there, right? Which will be controlling our web applications database over there, right? So if we are using the right set of queries, right? If we are using queries, the attacker, he can gain the access to the information which is stored inside our database, right? So our SQL map, what it will be doing is it will other particular parameter like your get parameter, it is vulnerable to our SQL injection or not, right? And that is how we can perform the SQL injection over here, right? So over here, if if the attacker is using this SQL injection, right, he can capture our sensitive data, right, our credit card information, our personal details over there, right, and he can also delete all these data from here, right? So that is what we are having your SQL injection. Okay. So over here we are having our command injection, right? So inside the command injection, the attackers, they are going to insert their malicious commands inside our user inputs, right? And using that, they are going to exploit the vulnerabilities to execute the unauthorized commands under under our system over there, right? For that, they can upload a file which will be having malicious command, right? So whenever the name of that particular file, right, it will be executing, right, it is going to execute the commands inside our server over there, right? So that is why your command injection, it is also known as like your shell injection, right? So inside this, what will be happening is our web application, it will be having the vulnerabilities which is going to allow the attackers to insert to execute their malicious code inside the server, right, that is hosting our web application, right? For that, they are going to inject some malicious codes inside our input fields, right, of our websites over there, or they will be simply submitting some malicious data through some other ways over there, right? Like with the help of your cookies, headers, your URL parameters, and many more, right? That is what we are having your command injection. After this, we are having a broken authentication over here. So our broken authentication vulnerability, right? It is going to occur whenever our web applications, their authentication mechanism, right, they are weak or they are having some flaw, right? So this particular vulnerability, it is going to allow the attackers to gain the unauthorized access to their user accounts or to impersonate as a legitimate user, right? So for that, inside the broken authentication vulnerabilities, the attacker, they can perform the brute force attack, right? The attackers, they can perform the brute force attack in which they will be guessing the user's password, right, by having the different combinations of the characters, right? They can perform the password attack over there, right, in which they will be using the stolen passwords, right, or the passwords that are very easy to guess to gain the access of our system, right? Along with that, over there, they can also try to steal our session ID, right, and then they can use it to impersonate as a legitimate user, right? So over here, we have just performed the SQL injection, right? We have just performed the SQL injection over there, right? So over here, it is not like that we can only perform the SQL injection in the URL, right? So for that, what we were doing is we were performing the SQL injection, we were breaking the developer's code and the URL, right? We were giving the single inverted comma, right? So we can also perform our SQL injection in many places, right? Like we are having the username and the password field, right? So if I will be clicking on this sign up, logout test first, sign up. Now, if I will be opening my developer options, right, and I will be surfing over this username, right? So inside this, what we are having name equals to double inverted comma username, type equals to text, size equal to this, style equals to this. If I will be hovering over my password, right, then we are having the same thing like over here, right? But along with that, we are having one more column, right, which is your value, right? Over here, that is your hidden, right? So inside that, we will be having your value double inverted comma and double inverted comma. So whatever thing we are writing over there, right, it will be coming inside over here, right? So previously, when we were discussing about the developer's code, right, as I was saying that for the compiler, it will be looking like this, right? For the compiler, it will be looking like this over there, right? And for that, what we were doing is we were trying to unbalance the query by giving the single inverted comma over there, right? So over here, we can also perform the SQL injection in our username and the password field over here, right? So for that, what I will be doing is I will be writing a simple command, right? So in this, the very first thing what I will be doing is I will be trying to break the developer's code, right? I will be trying to break the developer's code over here, right, by giving the single inverted comma. Then after this, I'm going to write my commenting vectors, right? I will be using the commenting vectors over here to balance the query, right? So over here, we are having our commenting vectors to make a particular line or to make the particular words as a comment, right? Like we are having in our different language. Now, let's say you guys are writing a plenty big code, right? You guys are writing a plenty big code over there, right? And you do not want a specific line to be get executed by the compiler. So for that, what you will be doing is you will be using the commenting vectors, right? You guys will be using the commenting vector. So whatever thing you will be writing between these commenting vector, that is not going to get executed by your compiler, right? So same thing we will be also using over here to balance our query, right? So we are going to balance our query in a condition, in a specific condition in which we can perform our attacks like the SQL injection, right? So for that, this command, it will be going like this, your single inverted comma, then we will be writing your or 1 equals to 1, then you're commenting vectors over here, right? So in between, what I'm doing is I'm writing a universally true condition over here, right? I will be writing a universally true condition. So over here, we will be having like our double inverted comma, this one like this, right? And we will be having the double inverted comma, which will be coming after the commenting vector, this one over here, right? And since it is coming after this commenting vector, it is not going to get executed, right? So over here, what will be happening is in between our single inverted comma and this double inverted comma over here, we are not having anything. So we can say that this value is what? It is null, right? So we are having a null space or 1 equals to 1, which is going to give you 1 over here, right? So null, we can consider it as your 0 and or will be coming like or and 1 will be coming down as 1, right? So 0 or 1, it is always going to give you 1 over there, right? So it is what? It is a universally true condition we are having, right? Because our database, they only understand two things. right? They only understand two things over here, right? Whether it is a true condition, whether it is a false condition over here. Now, for the true, right, we are having as 1. For the false, we are having a value as 0, right? So if we are getting any value as your 1, right, it means that it is your true condition, right? So simply what we will be doing is inside this username, we will be writing this command, a universally true condition, which will be giving us the outcome like your 1, right? A true, right? We are directly sending a true to this database, right? And using that, we will be able to get authenticated over here, right? So I will be writing the command like single inverted comma or 1 equals to 1, and then I will be giving my commenting vectors, copy and paste, right? I will be also closing this one, and then I will be clicking in the login. Don't save. So this is what we are having your broken authentication over here. After this, we are having the cross-site scripting. Straight over here, right with the name, your cross-site scripting, right? So over here, your cross-site scripting, it is one of the most done and the known attack over here, right? So when we are talking about this cross-site scripting, right, the attackers, they are using this cross-site scripting over here to defame a particular website over there, right, or to steal our cookies over there, right? So inside this cross-site scripting, what the attacker will be doing is they will be inserting some inputs, right? They will be inserting some malicious inputs or the scripts over there, right? And our application, our website, they are not properly able to validate them, right? And if these things are happening inside a particular website, right, then the attacker, he will be able to perform this cross-site scripting over there, right? For that, like, he will be inserting the malicious JavaScript inside our web page, right, which will be later on executed by our web page, right, and it will be infecting it, right? That is what we are having your cross-site scripting. But whenever we are talking about the cross-site scripting, there are something about that we should be having the idea about, right? So when we are talking about the cross-site scripting, it is what? It is a client-side attack, right? Your cross-site scripting is what? It is a client-side attack we are having, right? So over here, like the SQL injection, right, our cross-site scripting, it is not going to affect our server, right? Like our SQL injection, it was affecting our server over there, right? So, and thus the attacker, by being like a victim over there, he will be inserting the malicious script inside a particular web page, right? So whenever any user, right, whenever any user, he will be visiting the same web page over there, he will be getting infected by it, right? That is what we are having your cross-site scripting over here. Now let's take an example. So let's say we are having a website, a e-commerce website over here, right? And inside this e-commerce website, what we are doing is we are purchasing some products, right? We are purchasing some products from it, right? So now what we will be doing is it will be asking for the feedback. So we will be opening the feedback page, and inside it, we are going to write our feedback. But in the feedback, what the attacker will be doing is he is going to insert his malicious script, right? So whenever any user, he will be opening this feedback and he will be writing this feedback over here, right? Its system, it will be infected by this malicious script. So that is what we are having your cross-site scripting over here. right? So inside the cross-site scripting, we are having two conditions, right? The very first one that we should be having the input field. Inside this, we should be having the input field. So input field means to say the place where we can write our command, right? Like over here, we are having our URLs, we are having our search box, right? So if I will be writing anything inside the search box, right? So over here, when I will be getting the results, right, I should be getting the same outcome over here. Like if I am writing hello like this, right? So the outcome, it should be same like we have written, right? If both the conditions they are matching over there, that means that that particular place it is vulnerable to your cross-site script. Okay. So over here we are having the three types of cross-site scripting, right? We are having the reflected cross-site scripting over here, right? We are having the stored cross-site scripting, and we are having the third one, which is your DOM based, right? So and the reflected cross-site scripting, right? It is one of the most common cross-site scripting method we are having, and it is also known as your non-persistent, right? So in this, the attacker, what he will be doing is he will be being a victim, right? The attacker will be sending the request, and within that particular request, he will be sending his malicious script, his payload over there as a part of that particular request to that web server, right? And later on, when it will be getting reflected back, right? So over here, whenever it will be getting reflected back, right? So inside that particular result, we will be having our payload return, right? It will be having the payload return over there. And when the payload it is coming back, it is going to perform the malicious actions over there, right? So when we are talking about this reflected cross-site scripting, right? So over there, you should be able to execute the script from your system, right? You should be able to execute the script from your system over there. Now, let's take an example. If I want to execute anything from your system, right? So there should be two ways. Either I should be physically present at your place, right? Or either I will be sending you some phishing email which will be having some malicious links, right? And I'm going to make you fall in that particular trap. That is what we are having your reflected cross-site script. Like again, we will be using the site with the name Akunetics, your test PHP, right? So over here, what I will be doing is I will be writing my simple JavaScript like this: script alert, double inverted comma, and I will be creating some statement. Hello. Then I will be closing the script tag from there, right? So what this script it is going to do, it is going to generate a pop-up, right? This particular script over here, it is going to generate a pop-up for us, which will be saying hello over there. So let's try it. For that, first we will be looking for the input field, right? First we will be looking for the input field. Like if I'm writing anything, like I'm writing Mukesh over here, I will be hitting enter. As you can see, it is getting reflected, right? So both of our condition it is matching over here. First we have to look for the input field and our query, whatever thing we are writing over there, it should be getting reflected, right? So both of our query, they are matching over here, right? Now I will be writing our script, alert, bracket open, hello, bracket close, and then I will be closing this script tag from here. And if I will be hitting enter, then you can see we are getting a pop-up which is saying hello over here, right? So this is the most common one we are having, your reflected cross-site scripting. After this, we are having the second one, which is your stored cross-site scripting, right? So your stored cross-site scripting over here, right? It is one of the most damaging type of cross-site scripting we are having, because over here the attacker, they will be using the stored cross-site scripting to inject malicious content or the malicious file inside the server, right? So this stored cross-site scripting, it is going to occur whenever our user, right, whenever our user or whatever input they are trying to store in a server, right? But that particular input, it will be getting displayed back to that particular user as a web page output, right? Like if I am writing any comment, right, if I am writing any comment, and later on that particular comment, it is getting reflected back, right? So that particular, inside that particular, you can say website or these blogs, they can be vulnerable to the stored cross-site scripting over there, right? So that is what we are having, the stored cross-site scripting, right? For that we were discussing previously, like the feedback, right? Any user who will be coming back inside this particular page and he will be trying to write the feedback, then he will be getting infected by this malicious script we are having, right? That is what our stored cross-site scripting. Then we are having the third one, which is your DOM based cross-site scripting. So your DOM, it stands for your document object model, right? So inside this particular DOM based cross-site scripting, right, it will be occurring whenever a normal users or the attackers, they will be using their inputs to modify the DOM, the document object model of our web page over there, right? So let's say if a user, he will be coming and he will be entering his name, right, inside our JavaScript functions, right? And later on our function, they are going to modify our DOM to display that user's name, right? Then that particular function, it will be vulnerable to our DOM based cross-site scripting we are having, right? So this DOM based cross-site scripting, this is some sort of advanced kind of attack we are having, right? And in that, if our web application, right, if our web application or its web applications client side scripts, right, they will be writing the data, right, which is being provided by the user to their DOM, the document object model, right? Then the data, it will be read from the document object model by the web application, and the output of it, right, the output of it, it will be presented inside the browser, right? So if the data, it is incorrectly handled, right, then the attacker, he can inject the payload, right, and which will be, you can say, stored as a part of our DOM, right? And later on, it will be executed over there, right? So over there, we are having some DOMs like your document.url, document.hash, document.referer, right? So any of all these places, right, your payload, it will be injected by the attacker, right? So that is what we are having, the DOM-based cross-site scripting. After this, we are having IDOR. Okay, so our IDOR, it stands for your insecure direct object reference, right? So this type of vulnerability, it will be occurring whenever our web application, they are directly exposing their object reference in their URLs, right? So when we are talking about the object references in the URL, have you guys ever noticed, like whenever we are opening any website, right? Whenever we are opening any website over there. So let's say if I will be going in the page of a particular website, like we are having different page like about, right? And we are having like your sign up, we are having your account, right? So if I will be clicking on this account, then in the URL, we will be also having this account written, right? So these are what? These are our reference objects we are having, right? So if our web application, they are directly exposing their object references in the URL or some other places, right? So over here, it can allow the attackers to access these objects that they shouldn't be authorized to access over there, right? So I'm just making a guess whether it will be opening the admin page for me or not. I will be just writing this admin.php and file not found. If I will be writing your card.php, then you can see it is giving us the error. Okay, it is for your card. Okay, no worries. I will be signing up over here. The credential we have previously found, test, don't save. Now let's see whether it will be working now. Card.php. Can you see? We are able to see this cart over here for this user, right? So these are what? These are our objects, right? If the attacker he is able to directly refer to these object, then these parameters they can be vulnerable over there, right? And the attacker he can access the hidden pages also, which he was not authorized to have access, right? Like in the websites, but we are having the subscription, right? We will be having the subscription. So without having the subscription, we won't be able to see the content we are having for this over here. But after using this, what the attacker can do, he can also these items from there, right? Or he can also look inside the admin page from there, right? And let's say if he's trying to purchase anything, right? If the attacker is trying to purchase anything from the e-commerce website, right? So over there, he can also bypass the payment gateway, right? He can also bypass the payment gateway over there. And without paying any penny, he will be able to purchase the things from there, right? That is what we are having your IDOR, your insecure direct object reference. Okay. So over here, what I will be doing is I will be looking for my default gateway, ipconfig, and I will be copying it from here. Copy, and I will be pasting. So over here, you can see I'm getting my router, right? With the name of GeoCentrum. GeoCentrum default password. If I will be hitting the enter, then you can see username, admin, password, welcome at 123, right? So over here, whenever we are setting our security systems, right? Whenever we are putting the security systems over there and they are not being configured properly, correctly over there, right? So that can leave our applications, our systems vulnerable to variety of attacks, right? So for that, we are having your different types of security misconfigurations over there. We are having the default passwords, right? So over there, many web applications, right, they are having the default password, right, that are very easy to guess. So the attacker, they can exploit them by using the default password to gain the access to their application, right? Many of the applications, right, they will be having unnecessary open ports and services, right? So if we are having the unnecessary open ports and services, right, that they are having lots of vulnerabilities, so it will be also opening the gates for the attacker, right? They can exploit them, right? We are having the weak encryption. If our web application, it will be using the weak encryption to protect our sensitive data, then the attackers, they will be easily able to decrypt that, right? And then they will be able to access our data over there, right? So for that, we have to use the strong encryption to protect our sensitive data. We have to use only only the ports that are necessary over there, right? Along with that, we have to use the strong passwords, strong and the unique passwords over there, right? So whenever we are configuring our security system, we have to keep these things in our mind. Then after this, we are having your unvalidated redirects and forwards, right? So whenever we are visiting the sites like your torrent, right, we are visiting these places over there for downloading the movies for us, for or downloading the games from there, looking for the correct version for the applications, for the softwares, right? So what we will be doing is we will be using the third-party sites, right? Your torrents over there, right? So what will be happening over there is, let's say we are getting a web page, right? We are having the search box where we will be writing the name of that particular tool, of that particular game over there, right? So we are just clicking on this search box, and what it is doing is it is redirecting us to some other location, right? It will be redirecting us to some other location over there, and that particular website, it can be malicious, which is going to download a malware inside our system over there, right? So this type of vulnerabilities, it will be occurring whenever our web application, right, whenever our web application, they are not properly validating these redirects, these URLs over there, like where they are going to redirect us, right? Then over there, the attacker, he can also modify this redirect parameter, and he can redirect the users to a malicious websites over there, right? Let's say this is a normal websites, right? And inside this, they are not having a proper validation for the redirecting, right? So the attacker, what he will be doing is he will be modifying this parameter, and then over there, whenever we will be putting anything, then we will be getting redirected to some malicious website which has been created by the attacker, right? Then after this, we are having the missing functional level access control, right? So this type of vulnerability, it will be occurring whenever our web application, they are not properly having the control to its functionalities, right? Then the attacker, then they can execute it to perform some unauthorized actions over there, right? To execute some unauthorized functions inside a web application, right? So let's say we are trying to create an account, right? We are trying to create an account over there inside a web application. So whenever we will be creating the account, right, what it will be doing is it will be providing us the role of a user, right? Let's say when we are trying to create an account, it will be providing us a role of the user, right? For that, we will be writing our name, our password, and we will be writing our some other detail about us. We will be writing some other informations over there, right? Like the password hints. So over here, what the attacker can do is he can intercept these requests, right? He can intercept these requests, and when he will be intercepting this request, right, he will be getting all these information over there inside his system, right? And from there he can change this role from your user to the admin, right? And then he will be forwarding this request inside of a browser, right? And when our browser it will be loading this request, what will be happening is this particular user, right, this particular user, let's say it's Sai, right, he will be getting the access, right, he will be getting the account of a admin. Instead of getting the user role, he will be getting the role of a admin inside that particular web application, right? So this is what our missing functional level access control over here, right? So to mitigate all these vulnerabilities, right, these security threats we are having, right, what we have to do, we have to use the strong passwords, right, we have to enable the multi-factor authentication whenever possible, right, because it will be adding an extra layer of security by requiring an additional verification method over there, like your OTPs over there, which will be sent it to your phone, your push notifications over there, right? You have to regularly update your devices, your applications with the latest security patches to protect against the known vulnerabilities, right? You have to implement a proper session timeout and the encryption practices to prevent the unauthorized access to the active sessions you are having, right? Along with that, you have to perform a proper authorization and the authentication, right? If we will be implementing a proper, a robust user authentication and the authorization mechanism, right? It will be ensuring that our users, they can only access the data and the resources that they are authorized to see, right? We have to implement the access control like the role-based access control to ensure that the users they can only access the functionalities, the data based upon their assigned roles and the permissions over there, right? You have to always validate and sanitize the user inputs to prevent the attack from injecting the malicious data or manipulating the access control checks over there. For that you can perform the whitelisting or the blacklisting, right? So in this whitelisting and the blacklisting, what you will be doing is you will be specifying, right? You are going to specify what sort of information it will be, what sort of you can say input it will be considered as a legitimate, and what sort of input it will be considered as your unlegitimate, right? And this one it will be getting discarded, right? So if we will be writing in our URLs in our input fields, if we will be writing our scripts like this, which we have used previously for your broken authentication, right? What will be happening over here is it is not going to accept this script over there, right? So we have to validate the user input over there, right? We have to follow the least privilege principle, which means the users they will be having the minimum access which is necessary to perform their task, right? We will be avoiding like giving overly broad permissions to them, right? So these are some common web application security threats we are having. After this, we are having an importance of web application security. So over here, this web application security, it is very important for our organization as well as for our individuals, right? When we have to safeguard our sensitive data, we have to protect our users' trust, right? We have to prevent the financial and the reputational damage which are being caused by the attackers, right? So for that, our web application, right, it will be handling, right, it is going to handle our sensitive data, right? Our web application it is going to handle the sensitive users data, like we are having our personal information, we are having our financial information, the confidential business records, right? So implementing a robust web application security, right? It is going to safeguard all these critical data, the crucial data we are having, right? From the unauthorized access, the data breaches, or a theft, right? Along with that, it is going to build the user trust, right? And their confidence, right? It is going to build the user trust and the confidence. Like whenever the users, they will be interacting with our web applications, right? So over there, what they will be doing is they are entrusting their personal information, right? They are relying on our applications integrity over there, right? So if we are having a effective web application security, right? So it will be also increasing the trust of our users, right? Their confidence over there, right? It will be encouraging them so that they will be engaging with our web application without any sort of fear of your compromise of the data, right? It is also protecting our organizations from your financial losses, right? So over here in daily basis, we are hearing about the cyber attacks, right? We are hearing about the new threats over there, right? And those will be in a result, right? They will be giving us a result like your financial loss for the organizations, right? Like they are getting some fines, the organization, they are getting some fines, they are having some, they are creating some legal settlements over there, right? And they will be also having some remediation steps, which is going to cost them a good amount of money, right? So if we are having a secure web application over there, we are having some shields over there, right? Then our organization, right? It can protect itself from these sort of your financial losses, right? If a particular web application, it will be getting damaged, right? It will be getting damaged like your by some attacks, right? Then it will be also affecting the reputation of that particular organization over there, right? Which can harm the user trust, right? And it will be creating a like a negative image and the peoples over there, right? And the users over there who are visiting that particular websites over there, right? So for that, what we have to do, we have to use a strong web application security measure over there, right? Which will be protecting against these reputational harms we are having, and it will be also maintaining like a positive brand image, right? And along with that, we are also having our compliances, right? We are also having our compliances over here, like we are having your GDPR, your CCPA, your DPA, and we are having many more, right? So over here, if we are having all these, you can say security, right? Your application security measures over there, right? Which will be helping our organizations to comply with all these regulations, and it will be also avoiding the legal penalties because of the, right? Because if our data, it will be getting breached, it will be getting leaked out, right? Then the organization, right? They have to face some legal issues over there, right? Like in the Europe, what we are having the GDPR, right? We are having our GDPR over there, which will be protecting the individuals, the organizations, right? And their data, right? So over there, if anyone they have to use the data, let's say this is individual we are having, and this is a person who have to use this person's data, right? So over there, what he will be doing is he will be asking this individual, right? He will be asking his concerned over there, right? He will be telling him like where he will be using his data, right? How he will be using his data, right? So he have to tell him all those information in a very simple and a easy manner over there, so that this individual he will be able to understand it, right? And let's say if this person, right, he will be utilizing his data without his knowledge, then this person, he can also take some legal actions against him, right? So these are the importance of our web application security we are having. Right? So over here, our web application security, it is not just about your technical necessaries we are having, but also the statistics for our organizations to safeguard their data, to protect their users, and to maintain their reputation in our digital world over there. Then after this, we are having the role of your SSL and your HTTPS in our web security. So over here, our SSL, it stands for your secure socket layer, right? Your HTTPS, it stands for your hypertext transfer protocol secure, right? So over here, your SSL and your HTTPS, right? These two are what? These are the crucial components of our web application security, right? So working together of them, right, they will be safeguarding our confidentiality, the integrity of our data which is getting transferred between the websites and its user over there, right? So we are having this SSL, right, which is a protocol, the cryptographic protocol we are having, which will be creating a secure connection between the user and the server, right? Like we are having our browser, right? We are having our browser over here, and we are having our website, right? So over here, what it will be building is it will be building a trust, right? How? By providing a secure connection, right? So for that, what it will be doing is it will be using different encryption techniques over there, right? For protecting our data from interception, from unauthorized access, wherever our website, it will be using your SSL, right? Our URL, it will be starting with your HTTPS, right? Instead of getting your HTTP over there, our website, it will be our URL, it will be starting with your HTTPS, which is indicating that we are going through a secure connection, right? Then we are having your HTTPS, which is the enhanced version of our HTTP we are having, your hypertext transfer protocol, right? So over here, yeah, your S means secure, right? So over here, we are having this HTTPS, right? It is a standard we are having for our data transfer over our www, your World Wide Web, right? So over here, our HTTPS, it will be working together with our SSL to encrypt our all communication between our user and between our server over there, right? Which will be ensuring that our sensitive information like our login credential, our financial data, our personal details, they will be remain protected over there, right? They will be remaining protected over there, right? So over here, our SSL and our HTTPS, they will be providing us the data confidentiality, right? So over here, what our SSL TLS, right? We are having our your SSL TLS over there, your secure socket layer, right? And the TLS, what they will be doing is they are going to encrypt the data, right? Which is transferring from one place to the second place over here, right? Which will be preventing from the attack like your eavesdropping, your interception by the attacker, right? Along with that, it is providing us the data integrity because our SSL TLS, it will be also using our digital signature, right? It is working with our digital signature over there, right? Which will be ensuring that our data, it has not been tampered at the time of your transmission, right? We are having your authentication, right? Over there, they will be authenticating, they will be verifying the identity of a website, they will be preventing like the impersonation, the phishing attack over there, right? Then after that, there will be also, you can say, building the confidence of our users, right? If we are seeing your HTTPS written over there, right? What we are having the trust in that particular website that it's a secure website we are having, right? It's a secure website we are having. Inside that we can exchange our data, right? We can share our data over there, right? So they are improving the user's confidence, right? Then we are also having your search engine optimization benefits, right? We are having our search engine optimization benefits, right? So over here, our search engines, they are prioritizing our websites with our HTTPS, right? So that will be also boosting the search rankings for our SEOs over there, right? So over here, what we are having, we are also having our digital certificate. Okay, so over here, previously we were discussing about the cryptography, right? About the encryptions and all, right? So inside the digital certificate, what we are having our public key, right, of the user, right, which will be encrypted by a certified authority, right, which we call as your CA, your certification authority over here, right? That is what we are having a digital certificate in a simple manner, right? So over here, our digital certificate, it is going to validate our web server, right? We are having our digital certificates for our applications, for our tools, right? Which will be telling us that these are the legitimate places over there. Okay, so over here, what we are having the site. I will be clicking in this padlock, connection secure, more information, right? Then it is saying that view certificate, right? After this, we are having this certificate over here, right? So this digital certificate, what it will be doing is it is going to validate the identity of this particular website over here, right? It is going to validate the identity of this particular website. It will be telling us that this is a legitimate site we are having, right? It will be giving us the information that it is a legitimate site we are having, right? And we can trust on this website over here, right? So it will be used to confirm the authenticity of this particular website we are having, right? With the help of our web browser, right? So along with that, we are having a different types of digital certificate, right? So if we are having your HTTPS, right? If we are having your HTTPS written over here, that means that we are having your SSL TLS certificate, right? We are having your SSL TLS certificate over there, right? That is what our digital certificate for our web servers, right? So it will be containing like the cryptographic keys, the public key over there, right? It will be containing the information about our website, right? So whenever we are visiting to any website, right, our browser, what it will be checking is it will be looking over there if this particular website it is having a valid SSL TLS certificate or not, right? If it is having, then our browser, it will be creating a secure connection with our website, right? And it is going to encrypt all the data that is getting transmitted between our browser and between the web server we are having, right? It means that our data, it will be safe, right, from the attacks like your eavesdropping and the interception by the attacker over there, right? So it is going to protect our sensitive data. It will be preventing from the phishing attack, right? It means that many a time the attackers, what they are doing is they are creating a fake website which will be looking like ours, right? So over there, this digital certificate, it will be telling that, right, whether it is a real website or not, right? It will be enhancing our sites, our web servers reputation, or you can say our organization's reputation over there, right? It is saying that we are having a commitment with our data security, right, which will be creating, or you can say encouraging the trust of our customers, right? It will be also helping to keep our organization to meet the requirements of our data privacy regulations like your GDPR over there. So that is what we are having your digital certificate over here. Okay, so when we are talking about the difference between our SSL and the TLS, right? SSL, right? It's a protocol we are having which will be providing us a secure communication over our network, over our computer network over there. But your HTTPS, it is going to use your SSL to provide us a secure communication over our HTTP over there, right? Your SSL, it is going to encrypt our data and it will be protecting it from the attacks like your eavesdropping, your unauthorized access over there. But your HTTPS, right, it is being used to secure our communication between our server and our browser, right? So that is the difference between our SSL and the HTTPS over there. Then after this, we are having the working of this SSL TLS. Great. So what we are doing is we are using your TLS over here, right? So your SSL, it stands for your secure socket layer, right? And the new version of it, we are having your TLS, your transport layer security, right? So these are the cryptographic protocols we are having that are going to provide us the security over the internet, right? So for that, what we are having is we are having their handshake over here, right? Our SSL TLS, they'll be working with the help of a handshake over here, right? A three-way handshake process we will be having, an interaction we will be having between our client and between our server over there, right? So for that, and the very first, whatever server, whatever you can say client over here, what it will be doing is it will be sending a hello message to our server, right? Which will be asking for a secure connection, right? So the first one we are having is your hello, right? And this client over here, it is asking for, it is requesting for the secure communication over there, right? For that, he's sending a hello message to the server. Now, over here, our server, it will be responding back with its certificate on the public key, right? Then after that, what our client, what he's going to do is he's going to generate a session key over there, right? He will be generating a session key over there, a random session key, right? It will be then encrypting it with the server's public key over here, right? And later on, it will be sending it back to this server, right? Then after that, what the server will be doing is it is going to decrypt the session key, right, with its own private key, right? And then it will be using it to encrypt the communication, which will be happening after that, right? So this is what our three-way handshake we are having your SSL TLS. right? So it will be working over your application layer because it works like we are having your HTTP over SSL over there, right? Along with that, it will be also working on the presentation because it is providing us the encryption, right? It will be also working on your session because it is providing us a point-to-point session securely over there, right? So with the help of this protocol, your SSL TLS, with the help of this protocol over here, right? We can we can have the secure connection, right? The eavesdropper, the attacker, right? He can only see the connection we are having between these endpoints, right? He only will be able to see the connection we are having between the endpoints. But he won't be able to read and modify the data which we will be sending after three-way handshake over here, right? Once we have, you can say, created this three-way handshake, we are going to exchange our data, right? So he won't be able to decrypt this data we are having, right? So over here, your SSL TLS, it is going to protect our users' personal data, right? It will be ensuring the safe transaction over there, right? So over here in the very first, what we are having your client hello, then we will be having your server hello over here, right? We are having the first your client hello, then we are having the server hello, right? Then our client, it is going to acknowledge, right? Our client, it is going to acknowledge the request, right? And for that, he will be performing the key exchange over here, right? And then once the key exchange will be completed from the client side, then the server, it will be also finishing the key exchange over there, right? And then after that, we will be having the data transfer over there, right? So in the very first handshake in which we are having a client hello, right? It will be containing the information like our SSL TLS version, right? It will be containing the information about the algorithm which we will be using for your cryptography, right? It will be also having the information about the data compression method which is being supported by our client, right? Then after that, we will be having the server hello, right? After that, we will be having our server hello, which will be containing the information about the cryptographic algorithm agreement, which is being provided by the client, the session ID, the server's digital certificate, the server's public key over there, right? Then after this, we are having the third step over there, right? Which will be establishing the trust on our web server, right? For that, our client, it is going to check the server's digital certificate by the help of your validation authority we are having, right? Then after that, we will be having the fourth step in which we will be having the client key exchange, right? So over here, the shared secret key, right? The shared secret key, it will be encrypted with the server's public key, right? So with this particular step, the client, it will be sending a shared secret key to be used in the upcoming conversations, right? Then after that, we will be having the fifth step, which will be from our client, like it will be saying finished, right? It will be saying like finished over here, right? So this finish message, it is encrypted with the shared secret key handshake, right? So after this, the client, he can send a finish message over there, right? With which is encrypted with the secret key, which is indicating that the client part of, you can say, handshake, it is complete. Then after that, we will be having the sixth step, which will be our finished message from our server side, right? From our server, and our server, it will be sending the finished message, right? Which will be encrypted with the secret key, which will be indicating that the server part of the handshake, it is also complete, right? After this, the client and the server, right? They can exchange the messages, right? And they are encrypted with the shared secret key over there, right? So the primary use of our your SSL TLS over there, right, to encrypt the communication between our web application and the server, like our web browser loading a website over there, right? So over here, securing our web communication, right? It is very important to secure our sensitive data and to maintain the user trust in our online interactions over there, right? So for that, what we are doing is we are having your various protocols, right, that are being developed to establish a secure connection, right, and to protect our data from your interception, your tampering, or unauthorized access, right? So for that, what we are having is we are having your HTTPS, which we have discussed previously, right? Your HTTP, your HTTP over your SSL, right? That will be known as your HTTPS, right? So we are using our HTTPS for having a secure connection over there, right? For having the secure connection over there, right? Along with that, we are having our SSH, right, which will be securing our remote access to our server, right, which will be encrypting all the data which is getting exchanged between our client, between our server, right. We are having your uh, FTP, your over SSL TLS, right, your file transfer protocol over your SSL TLS, your secure one, right. It is also going to secure the file transferring using our FTP over there, right. It will be also protecting our data integrity, its confidentiality over there, right. We can have the VPNs, which will be establishing a encrypted tunnel for a secure communication over our public networks, over our internet over there, right. Then it will be also protecting our data from your eavesdropping and the unauthorized access we are having. Your HTTP public key pinning. Okay. So over here we are having this protocol, right? So what this HTTP public key pinning, what it is doing is it is going to provide a extra layer of security, right? So for that, what it will be doing is it is going to allow only the website, right? Only the website to specify the list of trusted public keys that our browser it should accept for our SSL TLS connections over there, right? So this technique it is going to help us to prevent our certificate based attacks we are having, in which the attackers they are presenting a fake certificate, a forged certificate to deceive our browser into establishing an insecure connection, right? So it will be protecting against the force certificate we are having, because our browsers they are going to accept the connection from the websites, right, which are having a public keys, right? So if we are having this HPKP over there, right, then our browser it is only going to accept the connection from the website who are using the specified trusted public keys, right? And over there what it can do is it can prevent the attacks, like in the man in the middle attack, man in the browser attack over there, right, that are relying on the force certificates, right. It can also enhance our security for our sensitive websites, right, because it is going to, you can say, provide us, right, it is going to provide us, or it will be handling for our website, right. For that it will be, you can say, looking for the highly sensitive data, like if we are, you can say, sharing some highly sensitive data, our financial transaction, our medical records, right. So for that it will be also enhancing the security for those sensitive websites, right. And it will be reducing the risk of our certificate misissuance over there, right. It is minimizing, or it is, you can say, reducing the impact of your certificate misissuance over there, wherever our valid certificate they are being mistakenly issued to a unauthorized entity, right. So over here what we are having is we are having our Dropbox, we are having our PayPal and many places, right? What they are doing is they are using this HPKP to safeguard their user sensitive information, right? So by using these security protocols over there, right? What we are doing is we are building a trustworthy web application, right, which will be protecting the user's data, it will be protecting the user's confidence over there, it will be maintaining their confidence over there, right? And if we are implementing these protocols, our web developers, they can also enhance the security of their applications, which will be reducing the risk of your many of cyber attacks over there, right? So these are some method by which we can have a secure web communication, right? We have to use the secure protocol over there, right? Because our HPKP, it is just a measure we are using, which will be preventing the attacks, the man in the middle attacks, right? For that, we will be pinning a particular site's public key over there, right? But when we are talking your PKI, right? So it will be providing, right? It will be giving us a, you can say, digital certificate over there, right? It will be allowing for a, you can say, a secure exchange of our information over the network, right? So in a simple manner, we can say our PKI, it is being used for securing the communication between the two parties, between the different parties over there, right? And by doing that, it will be building a, it will be helping us to create a digital certificate over there. But this HPKP, it will be used to protect the attacks like your man in the middle attack over there, right? So the websites who are, you can say, having the sensitive data, they are using this HPKP over there. But when we are talking about the PKI, all the websites that needs to exchange their information securely, they are using this PKI over there, your public infrastructure.